Now, to many of the viewers, your character comes across as a toxic alpha male with an inflated ego. How would you describe Nate's toxic masculinity?
That's a really good question. He's full of insecurity, is Nate. So, for a good while, he has been the person who's been on the receiving end of any aggression or a lot of the sorts of things that are toxic in his life. He's a victim to a lot of that.
Nate the Great is now Nate we hate.
Underdog, we really rooted for him in season 1, so that when he got promoted at the end of season 1, we really felt that jubilation. So to then see the character stab Ted in the back, it's such a gut punch. And so I think it's correct. There's also a lot of talk about whether Nate could be redeemed given what he has done.
This is Divya from CNN News 18 and really appreciate you for joining us today for a very quick chat.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Nate the Great is now Nate we hate. Now, you seemed like an unlikely villain to some, which is why his betrayal of Ted's trust is shocking. Now, do you want Ted Lasso then to make the viewers feel bad for Nate?
I feel like the writers did such a good job of that heel turn from the kind of the Nate that the audience grew to really love, to I guess seeing him go on that downward trajectory. I feel what they did really well though was plant those seeds sort of early on, so that we can almost, we obviously don't necessarily agree or condone Nate's actions, but we can sort of see possibly how the character kind of got there and made that decision to ultimately betray Ted and to betray FC Richmond and join West Ham. Because I feel like it's correct that as humans we feel betrayal, like we feel that betrayal, I think, and it was undoubtedly deliberate on the writer's part for us to really recognise that fall from grace, not least because we'd invested so much in Nate before. As the underdog, we really rooted for him in season 1, so that when he got promoted at the end of season 1, we really felt that jubilation. So to then see the character stab Ted in the back, it's such a gut punch. And so I think it's correct. There's also a lot of talk about whether Nate could be redeemed given what he has done.
You just brought me to my next question, which is if Nate will be getting a redemption story.
Well, I obviously can't go into too much detail as to how season 3 unfolds. I mean, it's undoubtedly another rocky road for Nate, but I think it's, the answer to that question is as much in whether the audience are prepared to forgive him, really. I think it speaks as much about our capacity for forgiveness as to whether Nate does or doesn't go on a redemptive journey, because nothing can erase history. Nothing can really change what he did. And Nate has got a lot of soul searching to do. I think we know from the way that season 2 ended that there is unfinished business there with Nate, between Nate and Ted, and Nate and his dad, who is, I think, a very, explains a lot for his insecurities and so on. So there's unfinished business there. Whether he is fully redeemed by the end, it's not really up to me, or it'll be the viewers who'll decide that, I think.
Now, to many of the viewers, your character comes across as a toxic alpha male with an inflated ego. How would you describe Nate's toxic masculinity?
That's a really good question. I think that, he's somebody who's obviously not ever... He's full of insecurity, is Nate. So for a good while, he has been the person who's been on the receiving end of any aggression or a lot of the sorts of things that are toxic in his life. He's a victim to a lot of that. And him having that, obviously Ted then came into his life and really empowered him in this wonderful, brilliant, really optimistic and hopeful way. And then what's happened is, because he has been so put upon and so bullied and never been able to really truly prove himself and prove his worth, what that's ended up doing is allowing confidence to become overconfidence and arrogance, and you know, we see that manifest itself in sort of so many different ways. Not just the way that he kind of starts treating Will the Kitman, or Billy Colin, sorry, Billy, who Billy plays in season 2, but also, you know, him going in for the kiss with Keeley as well. You know, him have with Keeley, yeah, having the audacity to betray that genuine friendship and what he had there, to kind of ruin it in that moment. And you know, Nate isn't good with relationships anyway, and certainly not relationships with women, because he's so ill-experienced, really, and so he's possibly a bit of an incel. I mean, you know, it's something that is explored more in season 3 to a degree, you know, that side to Nate, and it's not nice, it's not pleasant. I mean, and I certainly don't condone his actions in that regard, but I've tried to, I think, always approach the acting side of it, and in season 3 in particular, you know, try and give a truth to how he's kind of got to that place, and for him to to sort of find a way for him to sort of try and justify it to himself, I guess, to try and make it believable.
Thank you for your brilliant answers to those quick questions, and we
Thank
really
you.
will recommend this series to all our viewers.